Welcome to this powerful exploration of overcoming adversity. Today, we're diving deep into the wisdom of Bishop T.D. Jakes on transforming life's greatest challenges into stepping stones for growth and opportunity. If you're facing difficulties right now, I want you to know that this message is specifically for you. Your challenges aren't random. They're preparation for something greater than you can currently imagine. Life doesn't discriminate when it comes to challenges. Whether you're at the peak of success or just beginning your journey, adversity will find you. But here's what's beautiful. Within every crisis lies an opportunity waiting to be discovered. As T.D. Jakes powerfully reminds us, your crisis is your opportunity in disguise. This isn't about minimizing your pain or pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about recognizing that within your darkest moments lie the seeds of your greatest transformations. Think about that for a moment. The very thing that feels like it's breaking you could be the catalyst for your breakthrough. The situation that seems to be holding you back might actually be positioning you for a comeback. That's the perspective T.D. Jakes brings to adversity, and it's a perspective that has transformed countless lives around the world. What truly separates those who merely survive adversity from those who thrive because of it? The answer isn't found in the absence of pain, but in how we respond to it. As Bishop Jakes so eloquently teaches, it's not what happens to you, but what happens in you that determines your destiny. Let that sink in. Your response to adversity matters more than the adversity itself. When life knocks you down, you have two choices: stay down or get back up stronger. The choice you make in that moment will echo throughout your future. Those who overcome don't have fewer problems, they have different perspectives. They've learned to see adversity not as a punishment but as preparation. T.D. Jakes doesn't view adversity as random suffering. He sees purpose in our pain. In his powerful sermons, he often speaks about how our most difficult seasons are actually preparation grounds. Listen to this profound truth. Sometimes God allows you to hit rock bottom so that you will discover that He is the rock at the bottom. When everything else falls away, you discover what truly matters and what truly sustains you. Consider for a moment, what if your current challenge isn't meant to break you but to build something in you that couldn't be constructed any other way? What if the pressure you feel isn't crushing you but creating a diamond within you? Diamonds, as Jakes often reminds us, are formed under extreme pressure. Without that pressure, coal remains just coal, its potential for brilliance never realized. Your difficulties are not random acts of cruelty from the universe. They're opportunities for growth, for discovery, for transformation. Every great leader, every person of significant impact, has a story of overcoming. Your current chapter of adversity could be setting the stage for your greatest contribution to the world. Jakes teaches that adversity has a way of revealing what prosperity often conceals. When everything is going well, we rarely discover our true strength, our deepest resilience, or our most authentic selves. It's in the crucible of challenge that our character is truly forged. The fire that feels like it's consuming you is actually refining you, burning away what's superficial and leaving what's substantial. Think about gold for a moment. It must go through intense heat to be purified. The process is uncomfortable, even painful, but necessary for revealing its true value. You are much like that gold. The heat of your circumstances isn't destroying you, it's revealing your true worth, burning away impurities, and preparing you for your purpose. One of the most transformative teachings from T.D. Jakes is about the power of perspective. He challenges us to look again at our difficulties through different eyes. Your perspective will either become your prison or your passport, he teaches. The same situation viewed differently can either confine you or free you to move forward. When facing adversity, many people ask, "Why me?" Jakes encourages a different question. What for? This subtle shift moves us from victim mentality to a posture of growth and learning. Instead of seeing yourself as a target of misfortune, you begin to see yourself as a student in the classroom of life, gathering wisdom that will serve you and others in the future. Imagine for a moment two people facing identical challenges. One sees only the problem, fixating on its unfairness, its difficulty, its pain. The other acknowledges the problem but looks beyond it, searching for purpose, opportunity, and growth. Which person do you think will emerge stronger? Which person will find solutions more quickly? Which person will inspire others with their journey? Think about Joseph in the biblical narrative, a story Jakes often references. Sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph had every reason to become bitter. Yet he maintained a perspective that allowed him to later say to those same brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." That perspective didn't just change his response to adversity, it positioned him to save nations during a time of famine. Your perspective is powerful. It can either limit your potential or expand your possibilities. It can keep you focused on what's wrong or open your eyes to what could be right. It can trap you in resentment or free you for redemption. As T.D. Jakes would say, change how you see, and you change how you live. This isn't about denying reality or suppressing pain. It's about developing what Jakes calls spiritual eyesight, the ability to see beyond your current circumstances to the greater purpose they might serve. It's about trusting that your story isn't over yet, that the current chapter, however difficult, is building towards something meaningful. You can't reach for your future if your hands are still holding onto your past. Jakes often preaches with passion and conviction. Many of us remain trapped by previous failures, disappointments, and wounds. We carry them like heavy baggage into every new opportunity, wondering why we feel so burdened, so limited, so stuck. Jakes teaches that true freedom comes when we learn to release what no longer serves us. This doesn't mean forgetting or minimizing our past, but rather extracting the lessons while leaving behind the limitations those experiences try to impose on us. The past should be a teacher, not a prison guard. Learn from it, but don't live in it. Consider this revolutionary thought. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story includes chapters of failure. What if your past mistakes aren't disqualifications but credentials that have prepared you for your future purpose? What if your scars aren't symbols of shame but badges of honor, evidence that you faced difficulty and survived? T.D. Jakes often reminds his audience that your history is not your destiny unless you choose to live there. Your past is your past, he says with compassion yet firmness. It was a place of reference, not a place of residence. You visited there, you learned there, but you were never meant to live there permanently. Imagine driving a car while exclusively looking in the rearview mirror. You'd crash almost immediately. Yet many of us try to move forward in life while our focus remains fixed on what's behind us. Jakes challenges us to glance at the rearview mirror for context and lessons, but to keep our primary focus on the windshield, on what lies ahead, on the possibilities that await us if we have the courage to move forward. In our instant gratification culture, we often resist the necessary processes that transform our challenges into opportunities. We want microwave success in a world where the most meaningful transformations require slow cooker time. T.D. Jakes consistently emphasizes the importance of embracing the process. Don't despise the days of small beginnings, he teaches with conviction born of experience. What God is doing in you is often greater than what He's doing for you. This perspective helps us value the journey, not just the destination. It reminds us that who we're becoming through our challenges is more important than what we're getting or achieving. Jakes often uses the powerful metaphor of a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. If you help a butterfly out of its cocoon, attempting to spare it the struggle, it will never develop the wing strength needed to fly. Your compassion would actually cripple it. Similarly, the very resistance we face in our challenges is developing strength we'll need for our future. The struggle isn't just part of the process, it's essential to it. What if the very things you're praying would end are the things developing the strength you'll need for your destiny? What if your current limitations are actually preparations for your future elevation? As Jakes powerfully states, sometimes what you're going through isn't about where you are but about where you're going. The process isn't punishment, it's preparation. As Jake says with deep insight, sometimes God will take you through a problem so you can be the solution for someone else. Your current challenge isn't just about you, it's equipping you to help others who will face similar situations in the future. Your pain today could become your platform tomorrow, your message, your ministry, your mission. T.D. Jakes defines resilience not as the ability to avoid difficulty, but as the capacity to bounce back from it. Resilience is not what happens to you. It's how you respond to what happens to you, he teaches. It's not about being unbreakable, it's about being able to rebuild, even stronger than before. This resilience is built through what Jakes calls divine setups, situations that seem like setbacks, but are actually positioning you for a comeback. He often cites David facing Goliath, noting that David's previous battles with lions and bears, challenges that seemed overwhelming at the time, had prepared him for this defining moment. What looked like abandoned shepherd duties were actually combat training for a future king. What if your current struggles are actually preparing you for future victories? What if today's challenges are building tomorrow's champions? As Jakes would ask, what if God is allowing you to face this giant so you can discover the giant killer within you? Jakes encourages us to develop a resilient mindset by refusing to be defined by temporary circumstances, maintaining faith during uncertain times, finding lessons in every loss, building community with those who strengthen rather than drain us, and practicing gratitude even amid difficulty. These aren't just nice ideas, they're practical strategies for building the mental and emotional strength to overcome. Your ability to bounce back is directly connected to your ability to see beyond, Jakes teaches with clarity and power. When we maintain a vision beyond our current reality, we develop the resilience to persevere until that vision becomes our new reality. As he often says, don't confuse a chapter with the whole book of your life. This difficult season is just that, a season. It has a beginning, and it will have an end. Resilience isn't built in comfortable times, it's forged in challenging ones. The storms of life aren't just testing you, they're strengthening you, teaching you what you're capable of, revealing resources within you that you never knew existed. As T.D. Jakes powerfully puts it, you'll never know that God is all you need until God is all you have. Perhaps one of T.D. Jakes' most powerful teachings on adversity concerns our identity. He consistently challenges his audiences to stop identifying as victims and start seeing themselves as victors. This isn't semantics, it's a fundamental shift in how we see ourselves, and consequently, how we approach life's challenges. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become, he asserts with conviction that resonates deep in the soul. This transformation begins with taking responsibility not for what happened to you, but for how you respond to it. You may not control all the events in your life, but you always have a choice in how you react to them. Jakes often reminds us that victimhood is comfortable but limiting. It may gain sympathy, but rarely leads to solutions. The victim mentality keeps us focused on what was done to us rather than what can be done by us. It places the power in others' hands rather than claiming the power in our own. The victor mentality, by contrast, acknowledges the pain but refuses to be paralyzed by it. It asks empowering questions like, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? Who might I help someday because of what I've experienced? What opportunities might this difficulty create? These questions don't deny the reality of suffering, but they prevent suffering from having the final word in your story. Consider for a moment. Are you narrating your life as a victim's tragedy or a victor's testimony? The story you tell yourself about your experiences shapes not just how you feel about them, but what you do with them. As Jakes would say, don't let your wounds define you, let them refine you. Victims say, this happened to me. Victors say, this happened for me. Victims ask, why me? Victors ask, why not me? Victims focus on what they've lost. Victors focus on what they can gain. Victims wait for rescue. Victors initiate recovery. The difference isn't in the circumstances, but in the response to them. At the heart of T.D. Jakes' teachings on adversity is faith, not a passive waiting, but an active trust that propels us forward even when we can't see the way clearly. Faith isn't the absence of doubt. It's the presence of action despite doubt. It's taking the next step when you can't see the entire staircase. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Jakes often quotes from Hebrews 11:1. He teaches that faith gives us the courage to keep moving when everything around us suggests we should stop. It's the conviction that there's more to your story than what's currently visible. This isn't blind optimism, but a grounded hope based on the belief that we are not alone in our struggles. As Jakes puts it with reassuring confidence, God will not put more on you than He put in you to bear it. You have reserves of strength, wisdom, and resilience that adversity will reveal, resources you may not even know exist until challenges call them forth. Faith, according to Jakes, allows us to see opportunities where others see only obstacles. It enables us to maintain hope when circumstances suggest despair, and it reminds us that our current chapter is not the conclusion of our story. As he often says, your situation may be dark, but your future is still bright. When facing overwhelming adversity, Jakes encourages us to remember that faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting that there is an answer, even when we can't see it yet. It's believing that light exists, even when we're surrounded by darkness. It's knowing that strength is building, even when we feel weak. T.D. Jakes doesn't just teach abstract principles about overcoming adversity. He provides practical strategies for transforming challenges into opportunities. His approach combines spiritual wisdom with actionable steps, faith with works, inspiration with implementation. First, reframe your narrative. Change how you tell your story, even to yourself. Jakes advises with the insight of someone who understands the power of words. Instead of saying, "I lost my job," try, "I'm in transition to something better." Instead of "I'm going through a difficult divorce," try, "I'm in the process of rebuilding my life." The language you use doesn't just describe your reality, it helps create it. Second, use pain as fuel. Don't waste your pain, he often says with passionate conviction. Let it propel you toward your purpose. The energy of anger, hurt, or disappointment can either be directed inward as self-destruction or outward as motivation for positive change. Channel it into constructive action rather than allowing it to consume you. Third, look for gaps you can fill. Jakes teaches that our challenges often reveal needs we're uniquely positioned to address. Your mess can become your message. The very difficulties you've faced may have equipped you to help others in similar situations. Your wound becomes your wisdom, your tests become your testimony, your problems become your platform. Fourth, build strategic relationships. You need people who see storms as opportunities. He teaches with the wisdom of someone who understands the power of community. Surround yourself with those who help you see possibilities, who strengthen your faith, who remind you of your worth when you forget it. And distance yourself from those who feed your fears, reinforce your limitations, or celebrate your setbacks. Fifth, take calculated risks. Sometimes the greatest risk is not taking one, Jakes says with the confidence of someone who has watched many transform their lives through bold steps of faith. Adversity often creates openings for bold moves that wouldn't be possible in comfortable times. When you've already lost much, you may find the courage to reach for what previously seemed impossible. Sixth, develop new skills. Jakes encourages using difficult seasons to acquire capabilities that will serve you in the future. Don't waste the waiting period. Job loss can become an opportunity for education. Relationship breakdown can become a time for self-development. Health challenges can lead to discovering new talents or interests. The key is to remain productive even when your primary path is blocked. And seventh, serve others. Helping someone else is often the fastest way to help yourself. He teaches with the paradoxical wisdom that marks true insight. Service shifts our focus from our problems to our potential impact. It reminds us that we still have value to offer, that our life still has meaning, that we can make a difference even while in the midst of our own difficulties. These strategies aren't theoretical for T.D. Jakes. They're principles he's lived by and witnessed transform countless lives. They're not just about surviving adversity, but about thriving because of it, not just enduring difficulty, but being elevated through it. T.D. Jakes frequently reminds his audiences that overcoming adversity isn't just for personal benefit. It creates a testimony that can inspire others. Your breakthrough becomes someone else's hope, he teaches with the perspective of someone who understands our interconnectedness. Your victory isn't just for you, it's for everyone watching who needs to believe that overcoming is possible. When we transform our challenges into opportunities, we demonstrate what's possible for others facing similar circumstances. Our scars become evidence of healing, our comebacks become proof of possibility, and our wisdom becomes a resource for those still in the struggle. As Jakes often says, your test becomes your testimony. Think about it, the most inspiring people in your life aren't those who have had it easy, but those who have overcome something significant. They're the cancer survivors, the entrepreneurs who succeeded after multiple failures, the individuals who rebuilt their lives after devastating loss. Their stories give us permission to believe in possibilities beyond our present difficulties. As Jakes puts it with profound insight, God allows you to go through things not just for you, but so you can be a witness. This perspective gives our adversity greater meaning. It's not just about our individual journey, but about the impact our journey can have on countless others who will follow in our footsteps or be encouraged by our example. Your willingness to be transparent about both your struggles and your strategies for overcoming creates a roadmap for others. Your honesty about the difficulty makes your victory credible. Your vulnerability becomes your greatest strength when it helps someone else find their way through similar challenges. As we reflect on these teachings of T.D. Jakes on overcoming adversity, remember his powerful words. What you're going through isn't designed to destroy you, but to develop you. That perspective changes everything. It transforms you from victim to student, from casualty to conqueror, from someone who is broken to someone who is becoming. The challenges you face today are not the final word on your life. They are opportunities in disguise, chances to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. They are preparation for greater purpose and deeper impact. As Jakes would say, your current situation is not your final destination. In the words of Bishop Jakes, don't allow your wounds to turn you into a person you are not. Instead, let them transform you into the person you were always meant to become, someone who not only overcomes adversity but uses it as a launching pad for extraordinary opportunity. Let your challenges reveal your character, not destroy it. Let them refine you, not define you. Your greatest challenges may indeed contain the seeds of your greatest opportunities. The question is, will you have the courage and perspective to nurture those seeds until they bloom? Will you trust the process even when it's painful? Will you maintain faith even when the path forward isn't clear? As T.D. Jakes would say with the conviction of someone who has witnessed countless transformations, your future is greater than your past. And the adversity you're facing today may be the very thing preparing you for that greater future. What feels like a setback may actually be a setup for something better than you've ever experienced before. It's important to understand that this journey of transformation isn't always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're making tremendous progress, and others when you seem to slide backward. T.D. Jakes often reminds us that transformation is more like a spiral than a straight line. You may revisit similar challenges, but each time you do so with greater wisdom and strength. The path to your destiny rarely follows a straight line, Jakes teaches with the insight of a seasoned guide. There will be detours, delays, and what appear to be dead ends. But often, what feels like interruption is actually redirection. What seems like a delay may be divine timing. What looks like a detour could be protection from a path that wasn't right for you. When adversity strikes, our natural instinct is often to ask, why? Jakes suggests that instead of focusing solely on the cause, we should also consider the potential effect. What might this challenge be developing in you? What opportunities could emerge from this difficulty that would never have been possible otherwise? Sometimes, Jakes teaches with profound insight, what looks like a breakdown is actually a breakthrough in disguise. The very moments when things seem to be falling apart may be precisely when they're falling into place. The darkness that seems to be closing in may be just before the dawn of a new day in your life. Think about the stories that have inspired you most throughout your life. Chances are, they involve someone overcoming significant odds. Your story of overcoming has the potential to become that kind of inspiration for someone else. As T.D. Jakes says, your testimony is not for you, it's for someone who hasn't seen what's possible yet. Your courage in facing challenges becomes courage for others. Your persistence inspires others to persist. Your hope kindles hope in hearts that have grown cold with despair. This is the beautiful ripple effect of overcoming. It extends far beyond your own life to touch countless others, many of whom you may never meet. There's a powerful moment in many of Jake's sermons where he reminds us that the pressure we feel in challenging times isn't meant to crush us, but to push us into new territory. Pressure, he says with the confidence of someone who has witnessed its transformative power, is what forces an eagle to spread its wings and discover it can fly. Without the pressure of gravity and wind resistance, without the challenge of launching into the unknown, the eagle would never discover its capacity for soaring. Similarly, without the pressures you face, you might never discover the heights you're capable of reaching, the strength you possess, or the unique contributions you're designed to make. Sometimes the greatest barrier to overcoming adversity isn't the challenge itself, but our attachment to how things used to be. Jakes often teaches that God's plan for our future may require letting go of our past, not just the painful parts, but even the comfortable ones that no longer serve our growth. Some of you, he says with compassionate directness, are praying for God to restore what you lost when God is trying to give you something better. The door that closed, however painfully, may have been blocking your view of the window of opportunity that's now open. Your willingness to release what was creates space for what could be. One of the most profound aspects of Jake's teaching is how he connects our personal struggles to a larger purpose. Your pain is not just about you, he says with the perspective of someone who sees beyond individual experience to the interconnected tapestry of our lives. It's preparation for your contribution to others. This perspective helps us find meaning even in our most difficult moments, knowing that nothing is wasted when it becomes part of our testimony. Your hardest experiences may become your greatest ministry. Your deepest wounds may become your most powerful message. Your biggest failures may become someone else's most needed guidance. As Jakes would say, what the enemy meant for evil, God can turn for good, not just for your good, but for the good of many others whose lives you'll touch. As you face your own challenges, remember that transformation takes time. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly overnight. The seed doesn't instantly become a tree. As T.D. Jakes reminds us with patience born of wisdom, don't be so focused on your destination that you miss the importance of the journey. The process of overcoming adversity has value in itself, not just in the outcome it eventually produces. Each step builds character, develops wisdom, increases compassion, and prepares you for the person you're becoming and the purpose you're fulfilling. Honor the process, even when it's uncomfortable. Trust its timing, even when it seems slow. Embrace its lessons, even when they're difficult. In closing, let these words from Bishop T.D. Jakes inspire you to see your adversity differently. Your storm is not your story. It's just a chapter. And chapters end, but your story continues. Your greatest testimony may be waiting on the other side of your greatest test. Remember, the same wind that blows out a candle fuels a forest fire. The difference isn't in the wind, but in what receives it. Will you be diminished by the winds of adversity, or will you use them as fuel for a greater fire? The choice is yours. And that choice will determine not just how you experience your challenges, but what those challenges produce in your life. As T.D. Jakes would remind you with absolute conviction, you were built for this. You have what it takes. You are stronger than you know, more resilient than you believe, and more loved than you can imagine. Your breakthrough isn't just possible with faith, perspective, and persistent action, it's inevitable. So stand tall in the face of your challenges. See them not as punishments but as promotions in disguise. Use them not as excuses for retreat but as catalysts for growth. And remember, in the powerful words of Bishop T.D. Jakes, what you're going through isn't just about what you're going through. It's about what you're going to. Your struggles are preparing you for your significance. Your trials are training for your triumph. And your adversity today is shaping your awesome tomorrow. Keep going, keep growing, keep believing your greatest days aren't behind you. They're just ahead.